morning. I'm very privileged this morning to introduce our keynote speaker. As entrepreneurship educators, he is someone with whom we are all familiar. Our speaker this morning is a self-described marketing guy who, after counting diamonds working for a jeweler, discovered the software world. He began his professional career as an Apple fellow evangelizing the Mac. He left and returned to Apple a few times, and in between started several companies and managed to author 8 books, including The Art of the Start. Today, he is a blogger, a VC, an author, and a speaker, advisor to, I counted at least 7 companies, probably more, board member for several educational institutions, managing director to Garage Tech Ventures version 3 of the company that he helped to start a number of years ago, and is described as one of the top 10 speakers of today. He's also an avid hockey player and someone whose personal mantra, empower entrepreneurs, is consistent with most of us in this room and with this organization. Please help me welcome to the stage Mr. Guy Kawasaki.
Good morning. Wow, it's quite a light. It's very nice to be here. Of all audiences in the world that I speak to, I feel most at home here. Many of you have come up to me and said that you use my book as a textbook, and I am very flattered. There is no greater flattery for an author than to hear that, so thank you very much. I am here today to talk to you about The Art of the Start, the book, but more generally the concept of what I preach and what I hope helps people start great companies. So we are sort of birds of the same feather in a sense, because I think that's what you do too. So I hope that my book has been helpful. I hope this speech will also be helpful. It's so gratifying. Last night I had dinner with an entrepreneur from a company called Utilium, which is in the educational software business, allowing you to create course packs. And there is no greater pleasure than to meet with an entrepreneur and to see just the sort of spirit they have and the fire that they have and how they're going to change the world. That's very, very gratifying. So let me first take you back. I'll give you a little bit of my background in greater detail. I started at Apple Computer in 1983. Before that, I literally was counting diamonds. I was in the jewelry business counting diamonds and selling gold jewelry. After that career, I went to Apple purely because of nepotism. My college classmate hired me. It's not like I was well qualified in any sense for what I did at Apple. And I started in the Mac division. The Mac division was arguably the largest collection of egomaniacs in the history of Silicon Valley. That record has probably been broken by Google at this point, but till Google, we pretty much held the record. We worked for Steve Jobs, and because we worked for Steve Jobs, who was the co-founder of Apple, we had very special rules in our division. Unlimited supplies of fresh orange juice at $2 a bottle. On Thursdays and Fridays, we had massage therapists come into our cubicles and give us back rubs. Obviously, this was in the mid-'80s, so it was before sexual harassment was a big deal in the workplace. So you could get touched in the workplace. Sexual harassment back then was a good thing, actually. And the third piece of evidence I'd offer you about us being spoiled is that unlike any other division at Apple, a Macintosh division employee could fly first class for any flight over 2 hours. My interpretation of that rule was that 2 hours begins from the moment you left your apartment. So I would fly first class from San Francisco to Monterey. There's a lot been said about the Mac division, what were we trying to do, but the gist of it is we were trying to change the world, making people more creative and more productive with a new personal computer. And that's where I first learned about entrepreneurship. But there was an egotistical side to that division, an arrogance to that division. And it's something that I hope you can communicate to the people that you help and coach and teach, that they avoid. And let me illustrate this. Like I said, we had special rules, massage therapists, unlimited orange juice, first-class flights. And back then, Apple was divided into product divisions. So there was the Apple II division, which was shipping the Apple II by the truckload, making just tons of money. And there was the Macintosh division, 2 years late, trying to finish the Macintosh computer and ship anything at all. So back then, if you looked at Apple's P&L statement, Apple II was P, Macintosh was L. And I'll tell you though, we would not let Apple II division people into the Macintosh division building. So if you can imagine working for a company or university, let's say, where one department wouldn't let employees or teachers from another department into the building, that's what it was like. And if you thought about it for a second, what made that even worse and exacerbated the situation was that the Apple II division was paying for that building. Hence, the Apple II division quite fairly came up with a great joke about the Mac division, which is how many Macintosh divisions employees does it take to screw in a light bulb? The answer is one. The Macintosh division employee holds up the light bulb and expects the universe to revolve around him. How many of you use Macintoshes in this audience? Slightly more than my usual 5%. Well, for the rest of you, I take it, use Windows, right? So I'll tell you the Microsoft version. Is Microsoft a sponsor? It's not going to be. Okay. So the Microsoft version of this joke is, how many Microsoft employees does it take to screw in a light bulb? And the answer is none, because Bill Gates has declared darkness the new standard. So after the Mac division, I started several software companies. I became a writer and a speaker. I returned to Apple in 1995 as Apple's chief evangelist and an Apple fellow. This is when Apple was supposed to die. I don't know if you remember, but through the mid-'80s and through the mid-'90s, every 10 years or so, all the pundits say that Apple's going to die. Too small a market share, not enough software, whatever. They always say that. So I returned when it was particularly the dark days because my job was to sort of reinvigorate the Macintosh cult. It's very ironical, back then Michael Dell was saying to Apple, well, you should just give back your cash to the shareholders and close down the company. And Compaq and Dell were the hot companies. And now look where we are, life is good. It's an old Chinese saying that is, if you wait by the side of the river, eventually the enemy of your body will come floating by. So after I returned to Apple, I stayed there a couple years, and then I started Garage.com, which was a boutique investment bank to help entrepreneurs find venture capital. Garage.com morphed itself into Garage Technology Ventures, which is where I am today. I'm a venture capitalist. That's enough of my background. Early in my career, I went to many a Comdex, many a CES, many a Macworld Expo, and I saw many high-tech CEOs speak. And I will tell you that I learned two things about high-tech CEOs as speakers. First, they suck. Second, they go long. So the two things are, they suck, and you have no idea how much longer they will suck. And that is a particularly bad combination. It's like being stupid and arrogant, bad combination. So I decided that I would never be accused of such a thing, or at least no more than 50% of these things. So I use a top 10 format for my speeches. So I will use the top 10 speech today to communicate the art of the start. This way, when I'm on number 5, for example, you know that I'm halfway done. So you know about how much truly, I hope you don't think I suck, but in case you do, you can track progress through my speech. This is a point you may wish to communicate to your students. They should use a top 10 format. That way, people can track where they are. So, with no further ado, this is the art of the start. The first thing that I learned about the art of the start is that great companies are formed with this in mind, to make meaning, as opposed to make money. As a venture capitalist, I'll tell you that many, many companies come into our offices and say, we want to make money. We want to be the next YouTube that is flipped for $1.7 billion after 12 months. We want to have the next great IPO. We want to make money. We want to buy German cars. We want to live in 5,000 square foot homes that we will never furnish. We want to have second homes in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. All the good stuff. And I'll tell you, it's been my observation, the people who say that never build great companies. The people who do build great companies come in and they say, we want to change the world. There's things that are going on that need to be fixed. We want to enable people to do things that have never been done before. So the first thing that I learned about the art of the start is the desire to make meaning. Now, I'm going to read to you from an ad that depicts, I think, very meaningful marketing, very meaningful product development. This is a great example of evangelistic advertising. I should have moved this computer closer here. You know, if someone would invent LASIK surgery that helps you not need reading glasses, that would really be a good thing, you know? A woman is often measured by the things she cannot control. She's measured by the way her body curves or doesn't curve, by where she's flat or straight or round. She's measured by 36, 24, 36, and inches and ages and numbers, by all the outside things that don't ever add up to who she is on the inside. And so if a woman is to be measured, let her be measured by the things she can control, by who she is and who she is trying to become, because as every woman knows, measurements are only statistics, and statistics lie. So, this is an ad for Nike women's aerobic shoes. Let's pretend that I'm the VP of marketing of Nike, and you will be my prospective customer. And I say to you, do you have $100? Work with me here. Yes, okay. Jeez, tough audience. So I say to you, all right, you have $100. I have 2 pieces of cotton, leather, and rubber, manufactured under somewhat controversial conditions in the Far East. You give me the $100, I'll give you the 2 pieces of cotton, leather, and rubber. You know, that's not quite the Nike pitch. Nike is making 2 pieces of cotton, leather, and rubber stand for efficacy and power and liberation. That's making meaning with shoes, much less a great company. That's making meaning. Now, I happen to believe that truly you make meaning when you jump curves, not when you duke it out on the same curve. Great historical example. There used to be an ice harvesting industry. This meant that during the winter, Bubba and Junior, in the northern latitudes of the United States, would go out to frozen lakes and frozen ponds and cut blocks of ice. Then they would ship these blocks of ice really all over the world, as far as India. Now, their idea of R&D was, wow, we have 1 horse attached to the sleigh. Why don't we add a 2nd horse? We could pull that much more ice. Why don't we have a bigger, sharper saw? We could cut ice faster. That was their idea of innovation. The next curve in the ice business was the ice factory curve. Big difference. Now you freeze water, any city, any time of year. No horses. Doesn't have to be winter. Don't have to be in New Hampshire. All the good stuff, right? Major change over ice harvesting. Then the next step was the refrigerator curve. On this curve, you didn't have to go to the ice factory. You didn't have to have the ice man deliver ice to your house. This is the start of the PC business, personal chillers. The interesting lesson from this, and the meaning I want you to take from this example, is that none of the ice harvesters became ice factories. They were stuck with sharper saws, bigger saws, more horses. None of the ice factories became refrigerator companies. And none of the refrigerator companies are biotech companies, because most people duke it out on the same curve till their death. If you truly want to make meaning, you jump to the next curve. The second thing I learned is that you need to make a mantra for entrepreneurship and innovation and how you make meaning. Most companies, most people are taught to make mission statements. And I think that is a big mistake. I don't know how you do it where you are from, but I will tell you how mission statements are made in California. In California, it takes a 2-day executive retreat. Typically, it is at a hotel like this one, next to a world-class golf course. Very high correlation, golf course and mission statement. You take your top 50 or 60 employees and you hire an outside meeting facilitator consultant. You need an outside consultant because no one on your executive team can communicate or lead. Typically, this consultant is a woman, not to be sexist. Typically, her name is Moonbeam. Moonbeam is on a dual-track career. She is not only an executive coach, she is a Lamaze instructor. Because getting a company to push out a mission statement is not unlike pushing out a baby. 2-day executive retreat. First day is spent in outdoor exercises to build teamwork. This is the kind of exercise where you form cross-functional teams. Each team sends up one person at a time. That person holds up his or her arms, closes his or her eyes, and falls back into their arms, because you're going to learn trust, communication, kumbaya, climbing ropes, falling into each other's arms. That's day one. Day two, you're in a room like this. Moonbeam has the magic marking pen. She has the white pad of paper. 60 of you in the room. Each of you figure you are entitled to put one word into the mission statement. Right? In California, that mission statement has to be good for the shareholders, the employees, the customers, the whales, and the dolphins. Right? So you end up with this. This is the mission statement of Wendy's. The mission of Wendy's is to deliver superior quality products and services for our customers and communities through leadership, innovation, and partnerships. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? I like Wendy's. I do. I have 4 children. When the children outnumber the adults, when you go from man to zone, if you know what I mean, you appreciate fast food. In our house, French fries is a legitimate vegetable. Now, but in all the times that I have eaten in Wendy's, I must admit, it has never occurred to me, oh, Guy, you know what? You're at Wendy's. You're participating in leadership, innovation, and partnerships. I don't think any Wendy's employee could repeat this mission statement. Next time you go to Wendy's, ask them what their mission statement is. Ask Trixie, ask Biff, what's your mission statement? I don't think the founder of Wendy's could repeat this verbatim. Well, he really can't now because he's dead. But this mission statements just don't work. They're too long, they're ineffective, they're boring, they're not differentiatable. Okay, so what I suggest that you teach is you create a mantra. 3 words. 3 words that explains why you exist. Wendy's exists for healthy, fast food. That's what they try to stand for. Somewhat oxymoronic, but healthy, fast food. FedEx stands for peace of mind. FedEx has airplanes, trucks, vans, and incredible IT infrastructure. FedEx can tell you that your package is on the left-hand side of a van going south on Highway 101, 3rd lane from the right at 25 miles an hour. Can tell you all that. All of that is for peace of mind when you absolutely, positively want something, someplace, FedEx. Nike stands for Authentic Athletic Performance. Just do it is their slogan. The mantra, why that company exists, is Authentic Athletic Performance. And my favorite example is Target, or Target as we call it in California. At Target, that company stands for the democratization of design. You go to Target to buy things that have nice design at a reasonable price. 4 examples using 2 or 3 words of mantras. Tell your entrepreneurs, create mantras for their company. Why do they exist in 3 words? Now, if I haven't dissuaded you from mission statements, let me show you the easiest way to get a mission statement. All you need to do is go to the Dilbert Mission Statement Generator website. No 2-day offsite at the Ritz-Carlton, no playing golf, no falling into each other's arms, no climbing ropes, none of that. Just go to the Dilbert Mission Statement Generator website. We exist to professionally build long-term, high-impact sources so that we may endeavor to synergistically leverage, need to take a breath here, existing effective deliverables to stay competitive in tomorrow's world. Ladies and gentlemen, that would be the result of 2 days at a hotel. Or McKinsey would charge you 25 grand for that, okay? I have a friend, in case any of you are considering investment banking in your career, I have a friend who works for a very large investment bank. He said he went to the investment bank's off-site. One of the exercises was to create a new mission statement for the bank. Everybody had to submit a mission statement and the group would vote. He couldn't come up with any, so he grabbed one from the Dilbert site, submitted it, and it came in third. Just so you know what happens at investment banks. The third thing that I learned about the art of the start is to get going. Now, you would think that this is sort of a duhism, that entrepreneurs are these swashbuckling, risk-loving people, and they're just predisposed to action, taking off and going. I have found that to not be true. I think that many entrepreneurs sit there and they cogitate, they're in this dark room, they're still living with their mothers, and they're waiting for this Jupiter Research Consulting study to exactly validate their market. So they'd like this proof that there's a large market, but they don't want any competition in it. And they're fiddling away and life passes them by. So these are my 3 recommendations for getting going. First, think different. Do not do better sameness. Don't stay on the same curve. Don't add more horses to the sleigh. Don't build a slightly bigger ice factory. Don't build more shades of taupe front panels for your refrigerator. Get to the next curve. Think different. Don't build a better MS-DOS machine or Apple II. Build a Macintosh. The second point is to not be afraid of polarizing people. You want to get going? Don't worry if you're going to piss off a few people. Many entrepreneurs try to create this holy grail of a product, good for every demographic, every income, every religious, every gender, every sexual orientation, everything. If you do that, you will create mediocrity. Harley Davidson polarizes people. Macintoshes polarizes people. This is a Toyota Scion XB. When you look at that car, you can have one of 2 reactions. If you're 22 years old with a surfboard, skateboard, snowboard, skis, you look at that, and a golden retriever, you look at that car, you say, great design. Just the right size for my golden retriever and my skateboard. That's one reaction. I look at that car, I say, wow, Toyota, with all the money that you have, why did you hire someone who got fired from Volvo? Right? I mean, is that not something that looks like an ugly Volvo? It's kind of a redundant term, ugly Volvo. But anyway, this is about polarization. This car's not designed for me. It's not designed for a 53-year-old with 4 children. Not at all. Polarize people. I'm not saying you should intentionally piss people off. I am saying you should not be afraid, however, of some people loving what you do and some people hating what you do. That is far better than no one caring what you do. And the third thing about getting started is to find a few soulmates. I think that the myth of the solo entrepreneur doing it all by himself, herself, Anita Roddick doing it by herself, or Steve Jobs, or Bill Gates, Steve Case, is vastly overrated. You need to find soulmates. You need to find 2 or 3 co-founders total. Basically, you need someone to make the stuff, someone to design the stuff, and someone to collect the money, right? If you're a great engineer, you need someone in sales and operations and finance. If you're the youthful visionary, you need adult supervision. You need to find a few soulmates. Those are the 3 key steps to getting started. The next thing is you need to define a business model. During the 90s, we largely forgot this step. And I hate to admit it, but we're coming back to that point now. Not a mission statement. A business model is getting less and less important in pitches these days. Right now, for venture capitalists in Silicon Valley, you need to show that you have gathered a lot of eyeballs or you're making money. Either one is good. For a while, neither was good. So we're kind of going back to the dot-com days. We're definitely in a bubble. Not as big a bubble, because people remember to take money off the table now, but we are definitely in a bubble. And I actually thank God for that, because after the dot-com bubble burst, I prayed to God, just give me one more bubble, because now I know what to do. Defining a business model, 3 key steps. First thing is be specific. A business model has to be very, very specific. No more hand-waving about we're a Fortune 500 enterprise software company. That's crap. You know, what kind of Fortune 500 company? What department within that Fortune 500 company? And even better, who's the person in charge of purchase orders for that department within the Fortune 500 company? I think the model should be, who is my customer, and how do I get my money out of her purse? Because temporarily she has my money in her purse. I need to get it out of her purse. Who is she? That's the question. The next thing is to keep business models simple. I tell you, we have people come in and they say we have a curve-jumping, paradigm-shifting, patent-pending new way to sell stuff. I don't want to hear about new ways to sell stuff. I want very simple calculation. We have $1 cost of goods sold, we sell it for $5. That I can understand. That's the kind of model we want. We don't want you to have a patent-pending new business model. We want you to make it for $1, sell it for $5. It would be even better if you make it for $1, sell it for $5, and believe in your mind that's 20% margin. That's even better. Keep it simple. And the third thing, and the most important, is when you come up with a business idea, you need to ask women about it, okay? Not men. And I'll tell you why. Men have deep in their DNA, in their ROMs, if you will, a need to kill things. You can see it at the highest levels of our company, our country right now, right? So men want to kill people. They want to kill plants. They want to kill animals. They want to kill planets. They want to kill things. It's the hunter-gatherer thing. It's DNA. You cannot, well, you can repress it, and it's largely been repressed for most people except the Republican Party. But to a large degree, you can repress this. One of the areas that is socially acceptable for this gene to express itself is in the creation of companies. Hence, when you ask a man, should I start a company to kill Oracle? The answer is yes. Kill Microsoft? Yes. Google? Yes. Apple? Yes. Cisco? Yes. Body Shop? Yes. Betsy Johnson? Yes. Prada? Yes. Armani? Yes. Tiffany? Yes. When you ask a man, should I start a company to kill a company? The answer is always yes. By definition, women do not have this fundamental DNA flaw. Women aren't born to kill things. They are born to nurture things. So when you ask a woman doesn't have this predisposition to wanting to kill things. So if you ask a woman about a business model and a business idea, you will get much better advice. So when you come up with a business model, the thing is to ask women what they think of the business model. Do not waste time asking men. The fifth thing is to weave what I call a MAT. MAT stands for milestones, assumptions, and tasks. One of the beauties of starting a company is that it's like being the first person down the mountain in the morning after it's been groomed. Or it's like being the first person on a sheet of ice after the Zamboni has cut the ice. Beautiful feeling, right? Perfectly groomed, no cuts, no bumps, nothing. It's a lovely feeling. That's what a new company is like. You know, with a new company, you're not sitting there saying, wow, why did we hire these stupid people? Why did we buy this lousy furniture? Why did we get stuck in this dumb lease? Why do we have these pain-in-the-ass customers asking us to fix our faulty product? With a new company, it's just pure virgin snow and ice. Life is good. You get to design new logos, new stationery, you get to hire new people, you get to go out and look at new commercial real estate. You haven't shipped any product, you can tell all the lies you want about it, how it's going to be fast, cheap, intuitive, bug-free. Life is good. Well, in that situation, it's very easy to forget your priorities. What are the priorities of a startup? First thing is, you need to establish a handful of milestones. Milestones are things like finish the design, or God help us, ship the software. A milestone is something that you would call up your spouse and say, honey, today we shipped. That is very different from calling up your spouse and say, honey, today we went to Kinko's and we ordered stationery. That's not a milestone. But when you start a company, it seems almost as important to get stationery and a logo and business cards as it is to finish the design, right? The next thing is you need to write down the assumptions of your company. How many sales calls can you make per day? Most entrepreneurs show up at Garage and they say, well, there are, 6 billion Chinese. And, we figure that conservatively speaking, we could easily get 1% of them to use our new product. They do a top-down analysis. And no one ever says, well, let's see, we think we can bring one sales office online in a region per month. So after 12 months, we'll have 12 sales offices. These 12 sales offices can have maximum 3 well-trained employees. Those well-trained employees can make 5 real good sales calls a day. Of those 5 sales calls per day, 1 will result in a possible sale. Nobody ever does it that way. They always say 6 billion Chinese, 1% of 6 billion, only 1%. Conservatively speaking, how hard could that be, right? You need to write down your assumptions. Nobody ever writes down assumptions. Nobody ever revisits them. And the third thing in the mat is finally you do tasks. But you do tasks only to accomplish a milestone or to test an assumption. You rent an office in order to house the programmers to finish the software, right? That's why you do that task. Milestones, assumptions, and tasks. Those are the pecking order of entrepreneurship. The sixth thing is all the marketing you need to know for entrepreneurship. You need to niche thyself. Very simple graph. On the vertical axis is the ability to provide a unique product or service. On the horizontal axis is the value to the customer of that product or service. This is the holy grail of marketing. If you and your students and the people you support understand this, that's all they really need to understand about marketing. Marketing is really quite simple. Now, I will take away the suspense. Guess what? We want to end up in the upper right corner. Because in a 2x2 matrix, everybody's in the upper right corner. You should see the graphs that come into Garage. The most interesting part of looking at 2x2 matrices is to see how they label the axis to make themselves in the upper right corner. Right now, many people show up in the valley with a 2x2 matrix where the vertical axis is number of ex-Google employees. The horizontal axis is drives German cars. And they say we're in the upper right corner. Our competitive advantage is we have the most Google employees who drive German cars. That's our sustainable advantage. So I'm taking away the suspense. We want to be in the upper right corner. Let's go through the other 3 corners first. The first corner is where you create something of great value to the customer, but lots of other companies are doing the same thing. In that corner, life is pretty good. At least you're doing something valuable, but you do have to compete on price. And price is one of the worst things to compete on. The next corner is a corner where you do something that is of no value to the customer, but only you do it. In that corner, you're just plain stupid. You are just plain stupid. You own a market that doesn't exist. The next corner is arguably even worse. This is where you do something that is of no value to the customer and 10 other companies are doing the same stupid thing. That's the .com corner. This is a picture of dog food because dog food personifies that, right? Remember a few years ago, Pets.com? So the pitch for Pets.com is this. The dog food business is broken. Broken. Lots of pain there. Dog food business is broken. The dog food business is inefficient, dinosauric, Jurassic Parkish, brick and mortar, stupid people who don't get it. These people need to be disintermediated. They don't add value. The dog food business is fundamentally simple. We have a horse, we have a dog. Okay? You need to kill the horse, put it in a can, get the can to Rocky. How hard could that be? Why are there so many things in the middle? Why is there the wholesaler? Why is there the retailer? Get the horse, shoot it in the head at Purina, get it to Rocky. How hard could that be? So we have patent pending, curve jumping, paradigm shifting to disintermediate the stupid pet food store. By using our patent pending, curve jumping, open source, new methodology, using MySQL, whatever, we are going to change the dog food business forever. We can offer dog food at 25% less. File the Goldman Sachs IPO. Here we come. There's only one problem with that theory. Dead horses weigh a lot. So the shipping and handling you'd pay to get that case of dog food to your house more than offset the discount that you could offer. Costs more to buy dog food online than at the dog food store. Hence, it had no value. Then, stupid people like me, we funded pets.com, mypets.com, epets.com, ipets.com, lastminutepets.com, discountpets.com. There's 16 ways to spend more for dog food online than at the dog food store. That's why the .com implosion happened. So the corner we really want to be in is this corner. This is the high and to the right corner. One example is Fandango. Fandango enables you to print movie tickets at home. Where I come from, it's the only way to buy a movie ticket online. As I said, I have 4 children. When we go to the movies, it's an ordeal, right? You have to strap them in the minivan, you have to get them to the theater, you have to buy the tickets, stand in line, all that crap, right? You really want to know before you go, when you go to the movies, if you go with 4 children, that you have a ticket. And ideally, you would not have to stand in the ticket buying line, because that is also painful. Fandango, buy ticket at home, print it at home, go straight into the theater. Life is good. Second example, this is the smart car. It's coming to the United States this year. Smart car, right? Thousands of different models of car. Every one of them can park parallel to a curb, no problem. What happens when you don't have a lot of parking space? This one parks perpendicular to the curb. That's rather unique. This is a Breitling emergency watch. You see that area that's circled there? If you open that up and pull out the antenna, it puts out an emergency broadcast signal at the 121.5 megahertz. That's the same emergency broadcast signals that airplanes are looking for constantly, right? So if you get lost hiking, camping, skiing, snowboarding, you pull that out, you will be rescued. This watch can save your life. It's probably the only watch that can save your life. Breitling emergency. You don't, by the way, pull that out when you take the wrong exit on the freeway, okay? Because if you pull that out, next thing you know, Kevin Costner's in a Coast Guard helicopter looking for you. This is a Trek Lime, unique bike. If you're tired of shifting gears, this bike has an electronic automatic transmission. How do you like that? All right, so you're really tired of shifting gears? Baby, Trek Lime is the way to go. This is an LG kimchi refrigerator. Kimchi is a Korean delicacy. 2 things about it. A, it stinks, and B, it needs to ferment. Most refrigerators are not ideal for it, because if you put kimchi in your refrigerator, everything else stinks. And most refrigerators are too cold. You're really into kimchi, you buy the LG kimchi refrigerator that's optimized for kimchi. LG also makes a microwave oven that's optimized for the Middle East. We have dedicated buttons to popcorn. The LG microwave oven for the Middle East has a button dedicated to shish kebabs. If you're really into shish kebabs, LG microwave oven. And this is my last example. This is a cruise ship from the Royal Caribbean. I love hockey. I truly love hockey. How many of you are from schools with hockey teams? Wow, a lot. Okay, here's my deal for you. If you send me a hockey jersey from your school, I will send you an autographed copy of The Art of the Start. How's that for a deal? It's not such a great deal, but it's good for me. Because, some VCs, they collect homes. Some VCs collect German cars. Some VCs collect paintings. I'm a much more modest person. I collect hockey jerseys. I love hockey jerseys. I want to have the largest collection of hockey jerseys. Now, if you send me a hockey jersey, I don't want my name on the back. That's too vain. Even for me, that's too vain. And I'm not that good a player, so I don't want people to know who I am. And also, I really am going to use it to play, so don't buy me a little one. You have to buy, for those of you who are really considering doing this, I need size 56. It's an extra large, okay? So you send me a hockey jersey, I'll give you an email just at the end. I'll send you an autographed copy, because I I really love hockey jerseys. Someday, if you ever want to see my hockey jersey collection, and you're in California, let me know. I'd be happy to show it to you. So anyway, now where was I? So anyway, why is this boat as an example? The mark of a good keynote speaker is you never, ever get irrelevant. But the mark of a great keynote speaker is you can get irrelevant and come back. And I'm going to show you this. This is the Royal Caribbean boat. The beauty of this boat, unlike any other boat, is that it has, believe it or not, an ice skating rink on the boat. So trust me when I tell you, if I ever go on a cruise, this is the boat I'm going on, because I love to skate. So all of this is to tell you that the holy grail of marketing is to be in this corner where you have a unique product or service that nobody else can do, can deliver, can price, can do whatever. And it is of great service to the customer, great value to the customer. We're in the midst of an election right now, so I will explain this one more time in political terms. In political terms, the key to marketing is to be just like George W. Bush, our president, high and to the right. The seventh thing, think about that for a second. I guess we are in Texas, huh? Yeah, I brought my passport. Where's my friend from TCU? Where's my friend? There you are. The Horned Frogs. All right, go TCU. The seventh thing is to follow what I call the 10-20-30 rule. The 10-20-30 rule is the rule of PowerPoint presentations. Most people have PowerPoint presentations that suck, right? 60 slides long for a 60-minute meeting, right? Because they're so eloquent, they can rip through one slide per minute. Every one of them says, we only need 1% of this growing market. Every one of them has some kind of calculation that goes like this. 300 million Americans. Roughly 1 in 4 owns a dog, except for Michael Vick. 75 million dogs. Each dog eats 2 cans of dog food per day. 150 million cans of dog food per day are consumed in just the United States. How hard could it be to get 1% of that? 1.5 million cans of dog food per day. Everybody comes in with that. I have something called Meniere's disease. Meniere's disease has 3 symptoms. Tinnitus, which is a constant ringing in one ear. Hearing loss is the second symptom. The third symptom is sometimes I get these attacks of vertigo. There's many theories about what causes Meniere's. Excessive caffeine, excessive salt, excessive alcohol, excessive stress, acoustic neuroma. Lots of things could cause Meniere's. Nobody really knows for sure. I have another theory. My theory is that as a venture capitalist, guess what happens to me every day, day in and day out? I listen to crappy pitches. 60 slides, total addressable market of $80 billion, conservatively speaking. In year 4, we're going to be doing $500 million. That's if things don't go too right. We get pitches for, and I'm not making this up, we get pitches to build geodesic domes over Los Angeles to curb air pollution. To this day, I don't know if they were saying the geodesic dome would keep the air pollution in or out of LA, but, minor details. We got a pitch once to buy, I am not making this up, to buy Israel, to turn it into an amusement park for the rest of the Middle East. To buy Israel. You do need to think big, but I'll tell you one more story that truly illustrates sort of the conundrum of venture capitalists. This guy comes up to me and he says, well, we got this patent-pending, curve-jumping, paradigm-shifting new idea to tap the growing drowning industry. Drowning is a growth business. According to Jupiter and IDG and Forrester, by the year 2020, drowning will be a $5 billion business. The reason is that there's more and more disposable income. As there's more and more disposable income, dumber and dumber people buy boats. Have you ever had as entertaining a keynote in this association? Huh? So as dumber and dumber people buy boats, guess what? Dumber and dumber people, they don't know how to swim, they don't know how to run the boat, they don't listen to the weather forecast. So more and more people are drowning. Drowning is a growth business. It's a hockey stick business, baby. And we have figured out that there's a pain point in the drowning business. The pain point is when you're trying to rescue someone who's drowning, how do you spot that idiot who's drowning? We've talked to the Coast Guard. They're interested in partnering with us. Because when Kevin Costner is in the Coast Guard helicopter looking down, we're talking about the movie The Guardian, when Kevin Costner's up there, he's looking down, it's nighttime, 30-foot waves, rain, thunder, lightning. He's in the helicopter and he's looking down. Where's Bubba? Where's Junior? There's the boat. Where's Bubba? Where's Junior? Where do we drop the basket with the diver? So this company has met with the Coast Guard. They're interested in partnering with them because they're going to help Kevin Costner see where Bubba and Junior are in the water so they know where to drop the basket. And I'm immediately thinking, oh, cool. Chip. It's a chip. You implant people's necks with chips when they buy a boat. The chip talks to the satellite talks to a heads-up display in the helicopter. This is cool. I like this. I say, well, show me your technology. And he brings out this roll of red plastic tape. I am not making this up, okay? And I say, what's this? He goes, well, the way it works is if you're drowning, you tie one end of the roll to your wrist and you throw the tape out. This leaves a 20-foot long trail of red tape. Kevin Costner's in the helicopter. He says, oh, there's the red tape. Drop the basket there. There's Bubba. And I am having this freaking out-of-body experience. You know, I'm thinking to myself, this is Silicon Valley candid camera. They're going around the venture capital firms. They're taping what the venture capitalist says. Does the venture capitalist say, oh, yeah, interesting, let me bring this to the rest of my partners? Does the venture capitalist say, get the hell out of here. What the hell are you talking about? What does the venture capitalist say? That's what my life is like. Although, believe it or not, that company with the red tape has been successful. People really do, especially military pilots. They are buying his rolls of red tape, believe it or not. So you never know. But anyway, my point is that I listen to these pitches day in and day out. So it's not really too surprising that I have this ringing in my head and I'm going deaf. And every once in a while when someone tells me they want to buy Israel, I get dizzy. So in order to prevent an epidemic of Meniere's disease, I came up with the 10-20-30 rule. 10-20-30 rules. The most important rule you could enforce on people you're teaching entrepreneurship to, 10 slides. If you can cover these 10 topics in your 10 slides, you will be ahead of 95% of the people who are pitching for venture capital. These 10 slides. The point of a PowerPoint presentation is not to use shock and awe in order to get the venture capitalists to the point of saying, where do we wire the money? That ain't going to happen. The purpose of a PowerPoint presentation is to not get eliminated and to go to the next step, which is due diligence. That's all you want. You want to not be thrown out of the game. You're not going to win the game with PowerPoint. 10 slides. You should be able to give those 10 slides in 20 minutes. Some of you not using Macintosh laptops, you'll take 40 minutes to set it up with the projector, okay? 20 minutes. Rip through your presentation. You want lots of time for discussion. And the smallest font you should use is 30 points. Because most of the time when you pitch to a VC, or whether you're pitching for sales or partnership or recruiting or whatever you're pitching to, not just money, you are pitching to people who look like that. They cannot see anything smaller than the 30-point font. Now, if you find this rule too dogmatic, I'll give you a rule of thumb. Find out who the oldest person will be in your audience, divide his or her age by 2. That's the optimal font size. 60 years old, 30-point font, right? Someday, if you or your students are ever pitching to a 16-year-old venture capitalist, God bless you. Use the 8.5. Right? But until then, 30 points, 30 points. 10 slides, 20 minutes, 30 points. The eighth thing is to hire infected people. Infected with a passion for what you do. Now, I think most theories are that you hire people who are well qualified because of their educational background or work experience. I somewhat disagree with that theory. I think that at least as important, and maybe even more important, is they love what you do. So this means you need to ignore the irrelevant. Sometimes it is irrelevant that they don't have the right background. Sometimes it is irrelevant that they do have the right background. You know, many venture capitalists salivate at the thought of funding an ex-Google employee, right? Wouldn't that be a great situation? You hire the person, I can't stop saying that. You fund the person who ran, let's say, Google's program to give free Wi-Fi access to cities. Proven entrepreneur, worked for Google. Google is this huge success. And then you think about it for a second and say, so what you're telling me is you think that the right background for an entrepreneur that you're going to give $1 million to start a company is he or she worked for Google and gave away free Wi-Fi service. Wow, that's the direct connection. Someone who gave away Wi-Fi for Google, that's the right background. Yeah, let me think about that for a second. So you know what, I think you add one more thing, or maybe you make it the most important thing. Does the person get it? Does the person love what you do? This is the picture of diamond rings. The reason why there's diamond rings is that my background prior to Apple was jewelry, as I said. Can you imagine the conversation that went on with the HR person telling Steve Jobs to hire me? Well, Steve, we found this person. He's in LA. He went to Stanford. He has a psych degree because that was the easiest degree he could find at Stanford. Then he went to law school for 2 weeks and he dropped out because he couldn't stand it. And then he went to LA to get an MBA, and while he was getting his MBA in marketing, he started working for a jewelry company, and he's still at that jewelry company, and he's schlepping gold and diamonds around the world. That's the person we should bet Macintosh software evangelism on. He's never taken a computer class in his life. He's not technical. That's his background, Steve. Isn't that the ideal hire for the Macintosh division? That is what I was. The reason why I was successful at Apple, because when I saw Macintosh for the first time, it was a religious experience. I've had several religious experiences in my life. Seeing Macintosh, meeting my wife for the first time, accepting Christ, 3 minor details. Fourth one was playing hockey for the first time. So I've had 4 religious experiences in my life. And so, you need to learn to ignore the irrelevant. The perfect background, worked for Google, Microsoft, Cisco, in the old days, Ashton Tate or Lotus. That doesn't necessarily make you a great entrepreneur. Sometimes it takes an ex-jeweler. Second thing is, very easy to say, hard to do, is you need to hire better than yourself. A players do not hire A players, ladies and gentlemen. A players hire A-plus players. B players hire C players. And C players hire D players. So if you start hiring B players, you'll wake up one day surrounded by Z players. This is what's called the bozo explosion. You need to fight the bozo explosion. This is particularly true of engineers, because engineers, especially founding engineers, engineers who found companies, think that everything is easy except engineering. I could be the best salesperson, I could be the best finance person, I could be the best marketing person, I could be the best ops person. They think everything is easy and engineering is hard. They need to find people who are much better than themselves, not equal or worse than themselves. And the third thing is you need to apply what I call the shopping center test. The shopping center test works like this. If you go to a shopping center and you see a job candidate at the shopping center, but that person has not yet seen you, let's say the distance between me and the back wall. So I see that person. I know that person is interviewing at our company. I can have one of several reactions. I can rush right over there and say, hi, how are you? I know you're interviewing at our company. I hope you'll take the job. We are kicking ass. We are going to change the world. We are making meaning. That's one reaction. Second reaction is, you know what, this isn't that large a shopping center. If I actually get face-to-face to the person, I'll say hello. Third reaction is, I'm going to get in my car and drive to another shopping center. My theory is, unless you have the initial reaction of, wow, I'll just go straight over there and say hello, you should not hire the person. Because startups are families, dysfunctional families, but families. And you really have to like the person. You need to want to go over there and say hello. So you ignore the irrelevant, you hire people better than themselves who pass the shopping center test. That's how I think you hire for a startup. The ninth thing is you lower barriers to adoption. This is a duhism, as in, duh, of course you lower barriers to adoption. But I could tell you, many companies, perhaps unwittingly, but they create a lot of barriers to adoption. Let's say you're creating the next great relational database company. You have this relational database. It's fast, it's bug-free, it's intuitive, life is good. It is so fast, so intuitive, so bug-free, that you believe that people won't mind key punching all their data back into a new format. It doesn't accept an import, it doesn't convert files, but it is so great that people will retype all their information. That is not true. It is not going to happen. So the first thing is you need to flatten the learning curve. The ideal learning curve for a new product is you plug it in and it works. This is not true of VCRs, right? How many of you can set the time on a VCR? You are the liars. Nobody can set the time on a VCR. You never ask people to do something that you yourself would not do, right? You wouldn't ask people, or you shouldn't ask people to rekey all their data. If you were buying a new database, would you rekey all the terabytes of data that you have? No way. This is a washing machine because there's a positive example. At the Kauai Hyatt Regency, every building has a free laundry room. I think that's a massive statement. At a Hyatt Regency in Kauai, they don't try to get the quarters out of your pocket. The third thing is you need to embrace your evangelists. Evangelists are people who are early adopters. They see your product or your service as a way to make the world a better place. They're not shareholders, they're not employees. They want to make the world a better place and see your product or service as a way to do it. You need to embrace them. Don't be scared of them. Embrace them. Bring them into the fold. Have conferences for them, t-shirts for them. Give them stuff, give them information, embrace them, let them help you. These are the three key ways to break down the barriers to adoption. The 10th thing is to seed the clouds. How do you make it rain? I have a theory. Many people do not agree with it. But my theory is that in a startup, sales fixes everything. As long as you have sales, I can tell you from a venture capital perspective, as long as you have sales, we will not bother you. Because we have 10 other companies in our portfolio that don't have sales, and we're worried about them. We don't know how to fix them. So if you're the one company that has great sales and everything else is dysfunctional, it's okay. It's okay. I got bigger problems. Sales fixes it. Truly, it can mask a lot of things, but as long as you're selling, you're doing okay. First thing is, you need to let 100 flowers blossom. This is stolen from Chairman Mao. This means that at the start of a company, you may think you have a computer that's built for spreadsheet, database, and word processing, right? That's what Macintosh was for, spreadsheet, database, and word processing. What else would a personal computer do in the mid-'80s? Spreadsheet, database, word processing. But you know what? It was a flower called PageMaker that started a field of flowers called desktop publishing, and that saved Apple. It wasn't spreadsheet, database, or word processing. We're 0 for 3 there. PageMaker was a gift from God to Apple Computer. PageMaker saved Apple Computer. No PageMaker, today we would all be listening to music on cassette tapes and Sony Walkmans. All this PageMaker was a gift from God to Apple Computer. It was a flower that bloomed. I believe in God. One of the reasons why I believe in God is there is no other explanation for Apple's continued survival. Second thing is, enable people to test drive your product or service. You say to them, I think you're smart, and because I think you're smart, you can download it, you can take it home, you can borrow it, you can take it around the block. I'm not going to bludgeon you into becoming a customer. Test drive it and you decide for yourself. And the third thing is to truly find the influencers. Many entrepreneurs have this CXO obsession. They want to meet with the CIO, CTO, CMO, C whatever O, because those people have the title, therefore they have the brains, and they have the power. They can make a top-down decision to put our product into the company. It has been my experience that in most organizations, the higher you go, the thinner the air. The thinner the air, the more difficult it is to support intelligent life. So if you're focused on CXO level people, you are typically dealing with the stupidest people in the organization. Those people got there by sucking up for years, all right? Truly, the people who make decisions in most companies are the secretaries, administrative aide, database administrator, customer service rep, customer service manager, intern, summer hire, all the people who don't have the big titles. They really do the work. They really know what they need. Those are the true influencers. I'm not saying you should insult CXO level people, but I certainly don't believe you should focus on CXO level. Find the true influencers. And this is my 11th and last point. It is a bonus for you. Don't let the bozos grind you down. They're going to try to grind you down. They're going to tell you it can't be done, it shouldn't be done, it isn't necessary. Why should I build an ice factory? I'll just go out and cut the frozen pond, right? Why should I build a refrigerator company? We'll just have the ice man deliver ice to your house. That's bozosity. Now, there is two kinds of bozosity. I'm an expert in bozosity. There are two kinds of bozosity. One bozo, slovenly, disgusting, body odor, dandruff, pocket protector, rusty, crappy old car, right? You look at that person and you say, you're a loser. You are a loser. Why should I listen to you? If I listen to a loser, what does that make me? A loser. That's not the dangerous bozo, because that bozo is easy to ignore. The dangerous bozo is skinny. The dangerous bozo drives a German car. Dangerous bozo has Prada, Kate Spade, Armani, Mercedes, Ferrari, Porsche, any car company that ends in a vowel, basically. That dangerous bozo has a Breitling or a Rolex. That dangerous bozo dresses in all black. That's the dangerous bozo. Because that bozo, you think, rich, famous, parses to smart. Rich and famous does not equal smart. Rich and famous usually equals lucky. So this bozo tells you it can't be done, it shouldn't be done, it isn't necessary, no one will ever adopt it. And you might be tempted to listen to that dangerous bozo. So this is flu season. And in flu season, you take a flu shot. You get inoculated, right? I'm going to inoculate you to dangerous bozosity. I think there is a world market for maybe 5 computers. Thomas Watson, chairman of IBM, allegedly said this in 1943. 5 computers. I have 5 computers in my house. I have all the computers he anticipated in the world in my house today. This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no value to us. Western Union Internal Memo, 1876. In 1876, Western Union wrote off telephony. You know, today Western Union should be PayPal. How many of you use Western Union? How many of you use PayPal? In my mind, that's what Western Union should be. But you know what? It's difficult to go from telegraph to internet if you write off telephony in the middle. You know what I'm saying? It's just, in Jeffrey Moore terminology, it's just too big a chasm to cross. Maybe the strategic direction for Western Union in 1877 is, why don't we teach Americans the Morse code? How hard could that be? We'll teach all Americans the Morse code, and then we can put a telegraph in every house. Wow. Now, to be fair to Western Union in 1876, if you had the first telephone, who would you call? But still, they wrote off telephony in 1876. Holy cow. There's no reason why anyone would want a computer in their home. Ken Olsen, founder of DEX, did this in 1977. Wow. You know, if you want to balance your checkbook, drive back to the office, just Quicken running on a DEC mini computer. Ken Olsen was a great entrepreneur, a great innovator. He was so successful in the mini computer curve, he could not embrace the personal computer curve. This is my last quote. It is too far to drive, and I don't see how it can be a business. This is my own personal bossosity. It's the reason why I'm here today. The reason why I'm here today is this. I was asked about 15 years ago, would I like to interview for the CEO position of a job, a CEO position of a company. The company was just being funded by Sequoia Capital. And Michael Moritz posed this question for me. Would you like to interview for the position of CEO? And I looked at the company and where it was located, and I said, Michael, I don't think so. I was living in San Francisco with my wife. We had one child. She was pregnant or in beta with our second child. It would have been an hour each way, at least 2 hours driving every day. And I looked at the website. I could not see how it could be a business. The company's name is Yahoo. So I turned down the opportunity to interview for the CEO of Yahoo. Let's suppose I took the interview. Furthermore, let's suppose I got the job. Back then, first adult in Yahoo, I would have gotten 10% of Yahoo in stock options, right? 10% of Yahoo. The option strike price would have been 25 cents a share, right? And back then, life was simple. You know, none of the option backdating bull crap that goes on now, right? It was the 25 cents, you exercise at 500, you make $499.75. None of this, well, should we fake the board minutes and say the meeting occurred on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday? You know, it was simple. 25 cents, 500. Life is good. So let's suppose that I got the job, 10% of Yahoo, option strike price of 25 cents, 4-year vesting. 2 years into the 4-year vesting, I start Peter Principling out, right? I'm at the height of my incompetence. There's an emergency board meeting. Michael Moritz says, guy, you know what? We need to talk. We need someone who can take Yahoo to the next level. Someone who can go to L.A. and deal with the talent down there. Someone who can go to New York, deal with Barry Diller. Someone who can go to Australia and deal with Rupert Murdoch. We need someone who can stand toe-to-toe with these media moguls. You're not the guy. We need someone who can take Yahoo to the next level. So as of today, you're terminated as the CEO of Yahoo. Okay. I'm a calm person. I'm a really calm person. I would have said very calmly, listen, Michael, you don't understand something. This is California. We're still pissed off about that. You fire me today, tomorrow there will be a wrongful termination lawsuit on your desk. Turn on CNN too, because you'll see 60 little Japanese ladies protesting in front of Yahoo's headquarters. You cannot fire me. I will make this a nightmare for you. And he would have agreed. And he would have said, Guy, what would it take for you to go away quietly? And I would have said, I am 2 years into a 4-year vesting plan. Give me all 4 years. Accelerate my vesting. And he would have said yes. So by my calculation, this response cost me $2 billion. Right? And that's why I'm here today. Because if I had not done this, I would not be in San Antonio, Texas. So it all worked out in a sense. So when you make a decision of this magnitude, you tend to obsess about it. Because, you know, 2 billion here, 2 billion there. After a while, it adds up to real money. You don't have to fly to Texas to make a speech, right? So I've thought about this, and I've come to this conclusion. For the love of my wife, to be there almost every day when my children were growing up, I decided to pick the meaning of my family over making money. I made the right decision. No driving 2 hours a day. Thank you. I'm going to tell you something. When I tell this story in Silicon Valley, nobody claps. Somebody inevitably says, Guy, can you explain the logic? Why was that the right thing again? Here's the problem. So I believe that explains why I made the right decision. The problem is, it only explains the first billion. And honestly, it's the second billion that pisses me off. First billion was for my family. The second billion was stupidity. Because I was successful on the personal computer curve like Ken Olsen was successful on the mini computer curve. I could not embrace the next curve, internet. He could not embrace the next curve, personal computer. Furthermore, I looked at what Yahoo was, and back then it was nothing more than a collection of Jerry Yang and David Filo's favorite websites. I looked at that. I could not see how it could become Yahoo Auction, Yahoo Mail, Yahoo Classified, Yahoo Answers, Yahoo Stores, Yahoo Dating, Yahoo whatever. I thought it was nothing more than two nerds' favorite websites. Don't let the bozos grind you down. And this is my last slide. 4 things. I have a new company. I hope you'll check out the website, Trumers.com. Second thing, if you want a copy of this presentation, just send an email to MaryLouise@garage.com. We'll be happy to send you a PDF of this. If you can't open it up and you're running under Vista, go see your IT person, not me. I have a blog that I cover topics like this, blog.guykawasaki.com. And the last thing is, I love stock photography. I have a lot of stock photos in this. Almost every photo, other than the product photos like a Macintosh and a Toyota Scion, came from iStock Photo. If you ever need a photo for your brochures, for your PowerPoint, for your websites, iStock Photo. If you need a picture, for example, of a stupid person, you go to iStock Photo, you type in stupid, you'll find 800 stupid-looking people. $2 each, royalty-free, high-res. Life is good. Let 100 flowers blossom. You type in the word flowers, you'll find 5,000 pictures of flowers. $2, high-res, royalty-free. Life is good. So just to summarize, I think that the art of the start starts with making meaning, the desire to change the world. 2 pieces of cotton, leather, and rubber manufactured in the Far East can be positioned to change the world. It's about jumping curves, not doing things 10% better, but 10 times better. Not being a better ice harvester or a better ice factory or a better refrigerator company, but always getting to the next curve. It is about crafting that business model that women love, that is simple. It is about being in that upper right corner, unique product, great service, of great value to the company. It is about enabling people to test drive your product, your service, your revolution. It is about making it rain by finding the true influencers. But above all, I believe the key to the art of the start is you cannot let the bozos grind you down. I wish I could tell you when people tell you it cannot be done, it shouldn't be done, it isn't necessary, it means you will succeed. That's not that simple. But I tell you something, if you listen to those bozos and you don't try, you will never know. And truly you will have failed. You have to try. And so that is as much as I could tell you in 1 hour about the art of the start. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Guy, on behalf of USASBE, I'd like to present you with this gift.